We're going to go through both FanDuel and DraftKings, try to get to a couple of other slates, other sports. We got Bobby's going to be probably coming very shortly. And we'll just wait on Bobby to really get going. But we're going to keep up the trends. Since FanDuel is first, I'd like to kind of handle FanDuel first as well. So I actually just finished my big buy-in on FanDuel. First of all, in pitching, I have to say, on both sites, I mean, I tried. I find myself not being able to get off of the three chalk pitchers, meaning the three upside spend ups, that being Montas and Nola and Ohtani. I mean, I can make cases just to be kind of a pain in the neck for these other pitchers that I described earlier. And I think if you get to them in 150 max or whatever, then you can play them. But I'm just not going to do it. I just feel as though it's not really a feel as though. I mean, when I build, I don't really cost myself that much. Yeah, I don't get to play like all the Dodgers I want, but no big deal, really. But maybe it is a big deal. Maybe I'm supposed to find a way to play the Dodgers. And the other thing that I want to comment on before FanDuel is Bobby was right. I didn't realize how chalky Minnesota was going to get. I mean, they're just showing up as such a good. I mean, it's such a better play than I guess I thought they were going to. I guess I shouldn't be particularly surprised. I myself am not. I really don't know how much of Minnesota I'm actually going to get to. I'm definitely a sucker for those Kansas City cheapos, though. That's one thing on DraftKings. And then let me just see. So, like, for example, I'll just go over what I have here. So example, on DraftKings, I have almost exactly the same of those three pitchers, of Montas, Ohtani, and Nola. And I got a couple of sprinkles, those four other cheapos that I talked about in the video. I got one lineup with Perez, one lineup with Marquez, one lineup with Corbin, one lineup with Plankton.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, Bobby?
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. So I was just saying that with all the talk about those other pitching options, I did end up almost every one of my lineups on DraftKings to have some combination of those three top pitchers. I got a couple of sprinkles of those other guys, but really, really little. I have like one lineup with Marquez, one lineup with Plankton, one lineup with Marquez, and one lineup with Corbin. But all the other lineups have some shuffle of those other three, for me at least on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm a little more spread out. I have in my big ones, I have Marquez and Pilkington together in one.
Okay.
And I have Montas and Nola in my other one.
Yeah.
I have other Montas Nola combinations, Skubal, Ohtani, a little bit crept in. I am still pretty high on the Blue Jays as a contrarian stack, so I don't have as much Ohtani, and if he goes nuts tonight, maybe I lose. I have Martin Perez in about 20% of my lineups, and I have Ryu and Corbin in about 15% each.
Yeah, that is pretty spread out.
Yeah, I don't feel as strong about the top guys on DraftKings today as I don't feel that I feel that there's upside for sure, but I mean, we even have weather concerns that it could be a mid-game delay. That could be problems for Nola.
Yeah.
That we have. I do like Montas, but I also really like Skubal. I have the best pitchers umpire on the slate, and Skubal has been awesome. I just think he gets overlooked every single time, and Cleveland can't hit lefties for the most part. So that's sort of where I'm sided with. And I had to make sure to get a little bit of Martin Perez because I've been pointing this stuff out for so long. I feel like I gotta kind of just commit to it because I keep talking about, oh, nobody's ever plays this guy and all this. And so today
well, in honor of Canine Bronco, who was, I guess, considered the big winner from yesterday, he I did promise I would look at FanDuel first because it closes first.
Yeah.
And the two that I'm, again, same disclaimers as always. I'm actually playing 150 tonight. In the little guy.
Oh, nice.
Just to practice, just to practice my MMD game. And I'm also playing one lineup in the 777, which is gonna have nothing to do with what I do in the 150. So just to give you an example, like in the 150, I am pretty, would I say spread out? I mean, not really as far as pitching goes. I mean, I have 60% Nola, and then the same thing, like then mostly Ohtani, then some Montas, and I have some sprinkles. I have some Perez, some Wainwright, some Skubal, even some Marquez over there. And as far as the stacks that I have in the 150 stuff, I'm playing Philly, at the Dodgers, and then the next group is KC. But I'm doing something different in the in my big ones. I'm going with two other ideas on FanDuel. I'm actually going with the stacking that White Sox game, playing both sides of that, the Boston and Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am not as high on Chicago, but I totally get it. I do have a lot of Boston.
Yeah, I like that.
And I'm not buying necessarily the Boston ownership at nobody higher than 10% owned. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Not to me.
So I don't get that. So I'm way over the field, what the field is supposed to be. And the truth is, what's going to happen is the Dodgers starting lineup is going to dictate what happens on this slate, in my opinion. And that's basically just a simple thing of whether Rios starts or whether you have Bellinger starting. If Bellinger starts, I don't think Bellinger is going to be owned particularly at all. Where you have a fairly chalky Dodgers stack, I think Bellinger will end up as being a very low owned option because he's 4,900 in the outfield. It's, and then I also think that like Betts is maybe being over projected, like at 25%. I don't think there's any way that's really going to happen, but maybe because Betts and Turner, people are both projected in the mid 20s, and that's basically impossible to do. You know what I mean? Unless you want to play Pilkington and what's his name and Marquez or something, because especially if you want to play like Freeman or any other Dodger, basically, because they're all expensive. But if Rios is in the lineup, it opens things up, especially if he somehow is above, like if he's 7 or above in the lineup, which we've seen with him at times. So that's sort of what my big waiting moment is right now. But the other game that I'm targeting is going to be for multiple reasons. I'm into both sides of the Kansas City and Minnesota game.
I got that on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think that the price makes a lot of sense. You have the best hitters umpire on the slate. You have two pitchers that are low strikeout. You don't have a whole lot you have to really like feel afraid of. And at the same time, I think the ownership is going to be squarely on the Minnesota side, and I don't think it's going to be on the Cincinnati side. So I'm sorry, on the Kansas City side. So I like the idea of playing both sides of it. And, you have a low strikeout guy in Smeltzer against a team that struggles striking out against lefties. So you have Smeltzer who's struck out 2 guys in 10 in the third inning so far this season. So if you take away the strikeout upside, the strikeouts from these guys, everybody becomes much more interesting on the KC side for me. And I think you're going to get low ownership. So I actually have like full, like 4 4s, 5 2 1, 5 2 1s, 5 3 1, 5 3s. I mean, I really like those stacks. Justin seeing them all at over 10%. I appreciate that, Justin. That's a good drop. And I think that is the case. I think that's accurate. I think that some sites are a little bit lower on it than others, but you can just listen to other people talking throughout the industry, and it'll give you a feeling that, especially in high dollar buy-ins, I think people are going to be on these guys. Now, I think it's going to be mostly Kike, Story, and then probably JD, then Devers. But, Dahlbach, the cheap Arroyo at the bottom of the lineup is fine with me. Verdugo and a lefty, no problem with that. Vasquez is a really good catching option at 3,100 on a weak position. The one I'm not getting to is Xander, because I'm mostly combo stacking the Boston with the Dodgers or even I want some mini Toronto stack, so I'm playing Bichette there. I'm just not getting to Xander Bogaerts, and that's going to be maybe what ends up killing me on this slate. If Boston goes off and he's the one who does all the damage, it's probably going to hurt me.
I'm getting one site with an ownership projection of JD Martinez for 21%.
Yeah, see, that's what's so interesting, because I'm looking at two sites and neither of them have him above 10%.
Yeah.
So you're going to see some weird variance. And also, it's going to depend a little bit on how the Dodgers are the last lineup to come out. And I really do think Rios makes a difference in that. And I think that you're going to see a lot more people not only play him, but play the Dodgers if Rios is in the lineup more, because on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you can play the Dodgers so easily, they're going to be psychotically popular. It's very easy to do. So if you're going to play the Dodgers with Boston, include Dahlbeck in that stack. You know what I mean? Get some other thing to differentiate a little bit, because you can't, I do think that those guys are going to end up all being very popular on FanDuel.
Yeah.
The weather concerns, there's plenty of weather to be concerned about, and there's nothing I can give you that's going to be a word. This game is going to be fine or whatever. I think that it's going to be very wet in Detroit. I think that it'll play, but it's like I don't think it's as likely to have like a delay as much. It looks like just consistent rain that they can play through. So if we hear that if it's delayed, then I would be a little concerned. But Philly, Atlanta's always tough because they get the pop-ups all the time with the way the weather system works there. And you're going to have, that's the one knock against Nola here today, is that I think that you could see, that and that Atlanta's a more than a competent offense. But I could see that being a problem and a reason why maybe not to play as much Nola, because those pop-ups, if they do come mid or later or whatever, you could see Nola being taken out of the game.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, St. Louis, there's also some, but I think that it's gonna play. And Boston and Chicago looks actually pretty likely or very possible to have a late inning delay, but unlikely that the game would be postponed or even stopped early, just a delay. That's what I've got.
Yeah, I added one of the other weather projection Twitters to the I should add Mark do it to the Twitter feeds that we follow, so everybody can keep an eye on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that I do think this combo of the Dodgers and Boston is going to end up being more popular maybe than other people think.
Yeah.
But what you can do is make a couple really easy pivots, and you can play just play a 3-3-2 with Guerrero and Springer or something instead. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways you can get a little bit different while still playing those stacks.
I'm liking this whole idea, this Toronto thing you keep coming up with.
Mm-hmm. Even as a 2 or a 3 man, I think it makes a lot of sense.
And I guess we have to include Guerrero as the short list, right, of who we're going to play, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Guerrero. It would be Guerrero, Springer, and Bichette would be my 3 favorite.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty for sure. I think that's what I would probably lean towards. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward slate. I do think you can get different real easily by doing the Royals thing and by doing some of that Toronto stuff. I'm telling you, Toronto's going to go off at some point, and they're going to start a chain of games where they're like over almost 10 runs every game, and they do it every year. They do it multiple times every year, and I just feel like they're going to start heating up, especially. It does not that it all matters as much tonight, but they're in nice weather and in LA, and I just think that I like the over in that game. By the way, as just a free baseball thought, think like an 8 total for that game. I feel like that game is going to be higher scoring than that. That's my initial instincts.
So I'm already down money today because I have I was talking about this in the Discord before, actually just on our private Discord. So I have my one poker tournament a year that I'm going to tonight. My good friend of mine is involved in this charity to raise money for kidney research and part of this kidney foundation. And every year they have this thing called All In for a Cure, which is a poker tournament that I remember that I was the first when we first started it. I was like a bounty, and I still am like a bounty every year. And they get like get like a couple hundred people, and And so for me, not only is it like the $500 buy-in, but I always play like a zillion rebuys, right? Just to get things going. And not only that, I have a bounty that I put on my head. I give 500 for that. Not to mention that even if I win and overcome the big rake and everything like that, I probably just have to give the money back anyway. So it's total. So I'm already probably like 1,500 down going into tonight. So we got to do something in DFS to make up for this.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's do it in DFS.
Yeah.
Where Carl's coming in saying all this stuff about the Rios' DH, no Muncy. I'm looking at 5 different things basically that all have starting lineups. I don't have a Dodger starting lineup yet. Okay. So I would like to get confirmation on whatever that Dodger starting lineup is. I just looked on Twitter, and the most recent Dodgers starting lineup is from yesterday.
Just in case anybody's playing FanDuel, if they didn't see this, Aaron Hicks was scratched.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it's a half-hour old, but it's not in my projections, and I'm not changing them. So I just
yeah, worth noting for sure. And I think the Yankees are definitely an interesting option anyway. If you want,
you know they have a team. They have a total of 7 in that game, I think.
Yeah, I know it's a lot lower than I would have thought too.
I mean, normally when someone would say that, I would say, okay, what about the Yankee opponent?
Yeah, exactly. So Justin's saying he's got it too. Guys, what sites are you looking on? I've got MLB.com. I've got it on Twitter where I don't have a Dodgers starting lineup. I've got it on RG. I've got it on, what is this other one? That's just a Google thing.
Well, wherever it is, we should add it to the Twitter feed that that's on our Discord.
It's not on anything anywhere on Twiter. That's why I don't understand.
People getting it then?
I don't know. They're all saying it. They're all seeing it somewhere. So I'm just curious where they're seeing. So here we go. Justin, thanks a lot, man, for posting in there. Betts, Freeman, Turner, Smith, Rios. Yeah. Turner, Justin Turner, Bellinger, Taylor.
It's from the what? The real
no Muncy.
No Muncy.
Okay. Oh, the Dodgers beat. Okay. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. For some reason, it's not listed as Dodgers starting lineup on. I don't know. Usually, if I do a search, it'll just pop right up. But I did not get that yet. So no Muncy is definitely going to be a little bit of changing for me. So make sure I'll get Muncy out of my lineups, any of my Dodgers stacks.
Yeah, I got to do that right now, actually.
And the fact that they're batting Rios ahead of, I mean, Muncy's really struggling, man. He's been ugly. Let's see, Rios.
Which one of those guys played for the Mets? Was it Muncy or Turner?
Turner.
Okay.
Muncy was an A kind of, kind of is the operative word there. I wonder how many people are going to end up playing Will Smith at 5,700.
Nobody.
Pretty wild. It's pretty wild, some of these prices tonight. All right, so that Muncy thing is obviously a big piece of information that we need to sort out, and I need to go over to FanDuel, and yeah, you've got the cheap Rios now, which I think is going to make them even a little bit easier to play. All right, and for what it's worth, Justin Turner batting behind Rios, right? Wow. Okay.
Who's a good baseball player?
Who's that?
This Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, I love that guy. He's in one of my big ones tonight. He's in a bunch of my overall lineups too. He's going to be great. He's got the speed and power. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I told you guys a story. I have in my closet, I have 1,500 Bobby Witt Sr. rookie cards.
15. Oh, really?
Back in it was 1988 or something like that. I would buy these things in volume just to speculate. And there's like one interview of Tom Seaver where he said Bobby Witt had a really, really good differential between his fastball and his curveball or something like that. So I took his word for it. It's bought 1,500 rookie cards, like 3 cents each, and I think they're still worth 3 cents.
The prices stayed the same.
And the other thing I did, this was another speculation that I did, is that I bought also 1,500 of the Oral Hershiser cards from that year. Remember that year where he just didn't give a run like ever when he won the World Series?
He had the two. He had 86 and 88.
88. So I bought all the 88 cards, and my logic was that baseball cards always not overpriced, but they put a big value on the rookie cards of all the players. Mm-hmm. And I was always wondering, like growing up, like why didn't they put more of an emphasis on the seasons that they had their best season as opposed to their rookie cards? So I just kind of made a speculation that that trend would change. So I just bought like a whole bunch of, even though it was recent, I can get them cheap. I bought all from that season, hoping that the way that people looked at cards at one point would change, and that failed as well. So.
I thought you were building up to something a bit more exciting than that, Sheets.
No.
Just that one. And that failed as well.
And that failed as well. But you know the good thing I'm telling you, this is like business. Like the good thing about all like failed ideas is that the idea is that like you have to go through a bunch of failures before you get a great one. So every failure is good because it means you're that much closer.
Right. That's fair. Guys, I'm going to say for what it's worth, I just want to point out something about Cody Bellinger has always crushed the Diamondbacks. He's an Arizona kid. Not to say that that's why I was very confident that he was going to play tonight. I just want to throw that out there for what it's worth. Cody Bellinger.
Okay.
I think he'll be a lower owned Dodger, especially on DraftKings because he's 4,900 batting 7th. Yeah.
I tell you, they really wanted me to play Muncy.
They did?
I was getting a lot of Muncy.
Yep. I know he's a very popular. He's having just the worst year ever, but you know what? I'm going to throw Xander in a lineup because this Dodger shift is allowing me to do so very easily. And I would really like to play Xander in the same lineup as Turner just to lock up the spot. Doesn't look like that's going to work out for me, unfortunately, but that's okay. Juan Soto goes here, and that goes there. Juan Soto is just a spectacular one-off. Just going to keep throwing that one out there too.
Yeah, that's a good play.
He's getting forgotten about a little bit because of how bad their team is, and also because of it he doesn't get as many bats, But still, just an absolute, having a rough start to the season. But it's not even that rough. You know what I mean? He's always going to get you some points because he walks too, but he's going to end up hitting. I don't know if he can catch up and hit over 300, but he'll hit 300 the rest of the season from here on for sure.
He's not a free agent or anything like that anytime soon, is he?
I'm pretty sure they locked him up forever.
I would hope so.
I don't think you can mess around with that guy. He's just too good. Anyway, I'm gonna have to edit this one after we get off air. I'm gonna see if there's any more questions or thoughts in there. Appreciate all the help there, Justin. That was good.
Anything on the NBA tonight?
Yeah, so I like Dallas to cover. I would play Luka at captain and nothing special there. And the speculating in these ones are a little tricky. I think that you could make an argument to speculate on Bertans. I think you could make an argument to speculate on Ntilikina. Probably a little bit of a better speculation in the Ntilikina sense. Well, Ntilikina is going to be popular, actually, so I shouldn't say that, but it is still speculative. There is the weird Kuminga Moody thing. Like we got the weird Kuminga 21-minute game in the last game that they were, getting sort of beaten up a little bit, but still probably worth playing Kuminga at low ownership. You could probably say the same for Moody, although I'm less optimistic of Moody's minutes with Porter back. But yeah, that's how I've got it. Those are the guys I would get a little bit funky with. And I can't really find anybody. Dallas is going to put their best foot forward, which means their guys are going to play a ton of minutes. I don't understand why they keep doing this Dwight Powell thing. I think it's to try and prevent Kleber from getting in early foul trouble. But it's just such a weird thing that, you at this level, you have a starting center who's playing like 8 minutes a game. It just doesn't really it's not like he's matching up with another dominant center. He's matching up with Looney,
By the way, I do recommend, if people haven't been doing this, I know you don't play this stuff, but I've had a lot of success in these 2-day slates.
I like it.
It doesn't pay that much for first, so it's not something that all the experts are going to be pounding on. It's literally only 10K for first. But I've just found that first of all, the ability to switch and swap and game this stuff. Like yesterday, I spent like half hour on one decision. I had like one spot left going into yesterday, and there were like 6 guys tied with me with the same score. And I spent a great amount of time trying to figure out, where to pivot or how to differentiate and stuff. I actually was like just a couple of buckets away from taking the whole thing down. I ended up with like a couple of lineups in the top 20 at the end. But it spreads it out. So it makes it gives you more decisions, which is always good for better players. And it was good for me because I had a chance to see my lineups. and think about it over the next day, And so like on a day like this, like and this has really been working because obviously this Dallas Golden State series is higher scoring than the Boston Miami. So I've been really just like in these 2-game slates, just piling on as guys in the Dallas Golden State game and taking very few shots in the Miami Boston. And it's, and while that seems logical and obvious, I don't know. It seems to be working, and it doesn't. I don't think everybody's doing the same thing. I think people are afraid to play like too many guys from like one game, but I don't know. It's kind of fun when you have like all 5 starters for one team. You know what I mean? About to go on the court.
Right.
So I am going to be playing the showdown and the plays that you mentioned that I'm kind of on. I'm on the Nicolina thing. And I do think that the Moody Kuminga decision is an interesting one.
Yeah, I think that you take the one you think will be less owned is the way I would play that personally.
And it's going to be close actually, huh?
Yeah.
So play them both, right?
Yeah, mix some of. I don't know about both together because that's a very. No, I don't know how that. I mean, that's the odds of them both getting minutes unless the game is an absolute blowout. Okay. And it's probably would have to be a Dallas blowout, which is a hard thing.
It's really hard to see that one.
Yeah. By the way, I am trying to use Ryu where I am playing my Toronto guys because
sure.
I just think it makes the most sense. You always get a little bit longer of a leash with the pitcher, and especially a guy like Ryu who doesn't get that much of a leash to begin with. Yeah. Anyway, that's my Ryu spiel. All right. Who do you got? Who's one of your top second baseman sheets on DK other than like Story and maybe some of the obvious guys?
Let me put it back and I'll see. Hold on. At second base, my top one is. It's so funny if I list it this way. Oh, there it is. Hold on. One sec. Again, I'm just not as okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
So second base, my top owned is Segura actually. Segura and Witt. Those are my 2 top second basemen.
Witt is not a second baseman.
On DraftKings.
He's third base and shortstop.
On DraftKings, I have Whit Merrifield at second base.
Oh! I thought you were talking about Bobby Witt. Sorry.
Oh no, Whit Merrifield.
It's going to happen a lot to us this year, so good to get him out of the way now.
Yeah, I don't have any Story on DraftKings.
Yeah, Tony asking a question. I mean, look, I went through this already. Yes, there is serious weather concerns. Nothing that I think the games won't play, but I mean, one of them very well may not. And they're in Detroit, Atlanta, St. Louis, and Boston, and in the White Sox game, which is Boston. But mostly, I'm assuming that they're going to play.
Hey, since you
take that full responsibility.
Since you asked, I'll go over my top owned at every position. Why not?
Sure, why not?
Seeing as Kansas City's probably my top owned stack, it's not going to come as any surprise, but I'll do this. So at catcher is Melendez, hitting 5th at not much, and then the next I have is Real Muto. First base is Hoskins, and then Cheapo Ken Santana. And second base, I mentioned already, Segura and Merrifield. Third base is Alec Baum, and then Jose Ramirez, and also Bobby Witt. Shortstop, Rosario, actually, for Cleveland. And then Bobby Witt, I have some of him at shortstop. I have a little Andrews for some reason at shortstop. And then outfield, Bryce Harper and Benintendi.
Will make sense to me. All right. I've got my catcher. I'll go real quick. Vasquez, Melendez are my top 2. Sanchez and Will Smith are the other ones. First base, I'm going to force in Vlad Guerrero, and I am playing some Santana as well, some Freeman, and some I will now put in some Rios. Second base, Story, Merrifield are my main ones. Third base, Miranda and Bobby Witt, although I have a lot of Bobby Witt at short as well. And in the outfield, I've got a ton of Kike and JD Martinez, George Springer, Buxton, Garlick. Those are sort of the guys rounding out my outfield. So that's where I'm at.
Hockey
And-
sheets are up. If anybody's playing that, same games as we've been seeing. Rangers Carolina is going to be much lower total than Edmonton Calgary. Same as usual. We have no MMA this week, but we have 3 NASCAR things. We also have Formula One, which we can bet on, and for some reason they still don't allow betting on the Indianapolis 500 in DFS. They never. I don't think they ever have. It's so funny because when I grew up, that was the big deal. Was the Indy 500? I didn't even know from NASCAR really. Anyway, and then all the other sports going on. Golf, I'm off to. I think I kind of a shaky start. I never really tend to look until the second day.
Probably good.
So we'll see how that goes. So you'll know how well I'm doing if I put up like a round 3 showdown. So you'll know that we're not doing so hot. But you'll see a round 4 showdown regardless. That'll go up there this weekend. And have patience for projections and all that stuff. It's gonna be a nice weekend, so I'm probably gonna get some sun and do whatever.
Nice.
I guess that's it.
Nice. And guys, I'm going to jump on it, and as Tony says, hit the like button. I'm going to throw out Marquez versus Corbin. I would go with Marquez, but I do have a little bit of Corbin, and I really like. Again, I like all the stacks I went through. I'm going to get out of here so I can finish building my lineups. I've got a bunch of guys who aren't playing, so I'm going to say good luck to everybody tonight. I'll be back with you live and for the recordings tomorrow, and hopefully somebody takes something down. I'll be in Discord tonight, and good luck, Sheets. Good luck, everybody. I am out of here.
All right, see you guys.